Hola,
Hey, it's Fred, everybody. Welcome, Fred.
how's it going?
Well, seeing as how this is take number three for everybody who's listening, we'll see if we can get this one right. Special guest today is Fred. Say hi, everybody. Yeah, well, we can't hear him, so we're just gonna move on.
All right, sounds good.
It's so unfortunate that we don't get the cheers we deserve,
I mean, maybe you need those cheers.
dude. I need so many cheers. I'm so whatever. It's ridiculous, but. Why don't you take a second to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, whatever you're comfortable giving away, and I'm gonna take a moment to hit this bowl real quick, seeing as how this is the hit of the day.
Well, for starters, I'm drinking bourbon. I'm 30 years old, and I've known the Condor since the fifth grade, and we have all sorts of stories between each other that we can share.
Yeah, like playing the Yukon Trail on one of those old '94 Windows computers in the fifth
Oh,
grade. That was dope.
God, that was fucking, yeah. Or
Mr. Allen was the shit.
who did you have for sixth grade? No, you had Gregory.
Yeah, I had Allie's mom.
Yeah,
God,
and
this town's too small.
oh
That's
God,
I'm getting out, by the way, Fred.
I did get out. The military won out on that one, and I escaped.
Well, they did sort of scoop you away, right? Isn't that their MO?
No, actually. So I have had a very interesting, eclectic career up to now, which includes dropping out of or going to college, dropping out of college, going to community college, dropping out of community college, working as a fast food worker, server, factory worker, which by the way, working nights 3 weeks in a row and then getting a weekend off is shit. Don't ever do it. I'm sorry for anybody that has to do it. God bless you because you work incredibly hard.
Yeah, shout
um,
out to all our third shifters.
oh yes, and then went from there to working in a different factory up in a different town reasonably close to ours. Met my wife. She convinced me to go talk to a recruiter. And then from there, got laid off from said job that I had and was like, fuck this, and went and joined the military at 23.
Well, I've never had such respect for the military after you joined because I was like, well, at least they got one of the smart ones, right? Like,
Only some days.
yeah, I've met some other guys where I'm like, oh shit, this is who we're sending.
Those are
These
typically the
are our
guys
bravest.
that those are typically the guys that end up being cannon fodder.
It's unfortunate, but true. But at the same time, we must somehow honor all of our military veterans, no matter what the state they're in or who they might be or who they vote for.
Bro, it's Memorial Day weekend, not Veterans Day. Come on now.
That's what I'm saying. Um, but no, man, I had a very similar experience. I kind of trekked around the country for a second, intermittently. um, I went with one of our friends to try to work in Yellowstone National Park for the summer, and I did not make it.
I'll say, didn't you hitchhike your way back across the country?
Yeah, partly. Yeah, yeah.
That takes a huge amount of balls to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, or recklessness. I'm not entirely sure which was which back then.
Fair enough.
Oh, the funniest part of when I was in Yellowstone is none of the people that I worked for or with even believed that I wasn't a virgin.
That's fair. You did kind of give off the I'm a virgin vibe for the longest time.
What is a virgin vibe? Just so the audience is aware of what we're talking about.
I mean, God.
You call
How did,
Alan 40-year-old virgin? Like straight up like don't touch
like,
my Thor.
where you have to turn around all of your action figures before you can jerk off?
No, bro. You know how I feel about that Angelina Jolie one with the Tomb Raider.
It was Laura Croft, and first of all, that's Grandma's boy when he takes the Laura Croft doll into the fucking bathroom. We
I
actually were
know, it's
discussing that earlier at
It's such
work.
a beautiful scene. It's such a fucked up. Like, I'm not gay in the least bit, but when I watch that movie, I feel a little gay.
Why do you feel a little gay watching that movie?
So I love that scene so much. Like, I look forward to it every time I watch it. Like,
But
oh,
because the comic relief, not necessarily. I mean, maybe for you it's not, but for me it's the comic relief of it. It's more the oh god, this is a whole fucking hilarious part. I mean, for
why
you
can't
it
it
may
just
be.
be that I'm into moms? Like, why can't it just be that simple?
Well, I mean, you do refer to yourself as a Jew boy mom or Jew mama's boy, and so I think it's a little ironic that that's where you're going with that.
That's fucked up, man. The audience doesn't need to know that about the Condor, that he's just a little mama's Jew boy. This is profane. I'm so sorry for the Jewish community. That's
Yeah.
right. Isn't that okay? You just apologize after you say profane shit, and it's like, yeah, that's all right.
I mean, in today's political society, I believe that is the acceptable way to do it. But I mean, personally, I think that you're being a giant dickbag.
I'm sorry, but I just pictured what a giant dick bag looked like.
Now, did you picture a giant dick bag or a giant bag of dicks? Because they're different things.
Please elaborate. For the sake of this podcast, I need you to elaborate.
A giant dick bag is a bag made out of a dick. Like, it's literally just somebody took the skin off a fucking dick and just used it as a goddamn bag. Just like Santa Claus taking their shit around. Whereas a bag of dicks is a giant, like, what's the best? Like a canvas bag where you, like one of those old timey, like, potato bags.
Potato bag?
Yeah, where you're like a fucking old timey potato bag, but it's just chock full of
just
dicks.
a bag of dicks.
Actually,
I'm crying right now. I'm like, you have me in tears.
welcome.
That's bad.
Well, and what's even great is there's a one of the websites I follow. You can actually, it's called Dysfunctional Veterans, and you can actually go on their website and anonymously send out a bag of dicks. Like, it's candy dicks, but it's like, hey, somebody wants you, or go eat a bag of dicks, or like somebody wants you to have a bag of dicks or something like that, and they will actually, like, from their website send it to anyone in the world anonymously. It's fucking great, and I feel like I should get a goddamn plug for that.
Yeah, no. What's the website again? What's the organization?
Dysfunctional Veterans.
Okay, Dysfunctional Veterans, if you're listening, please send us a bag of dicks. I will get you the information necessary for you to send me a bag of dicks.
Just a bag of tiny candy dicks so you can suck on some dicks.
That's not optimally what I'm looking for, but I will settle for that.
I knew you just wanted to suck on some dicks.
Always, bro. I'm all about that Tomb Raider moment.
All this subliminal homoerotic shit. Finally, it comes out.
Yep. I've been watching AC/DC videos for so long that I'm just craving a bag of dicks. And yeah, I know the logic in there doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. But when you hear the song, I've got big balls 13 times in a row, you're going to feel some things. Oh, the Condor. It's a late night for the Condor.
Is it a late night? I mean, it is only, what, 10:30? 10:30 Eastern time?
We do pre-record these, so my apologies, audience members, for, I guess maybe being a little disappointed, but this will probably air the next day if we can get it right.
Finally. I mean, this
Brad
is,
seems to be onto something.
This is take 3. Again, that's because I'm not hitting it. I'm drinking it.
Whatever you got to do to catch a buzz, brother. Nobody's going to judge you here.
Amen.
I mean, we are not condoning crack by any means.
I mean, hey, they did just legalize magic mushrooms in or is it Denver? I believe it was just
Colorado. It was the entire state of Colorado, I believe.
Oh, really? I thought it was just specifically Denver, the city.
You think that I don't think they would do that.
I
Because they
don't.
would quarantine Denver at that point, I believe.
Just let them all fucking loose.
Suddenly, every business has neon signs. Like, they're going to start tripping out. I don't know, man. I think of weird stuff, too. Like, do you, you know that Nevada keeps electing dead people?
I knew that they did elect a dead man, yes.
I
No,
still
it's
can't get over that. It wasn't even, like, recently. But, like...
It was specifically for Denver.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did the research? You just Googled it?
I have a Raspberry Pi in front of me. Again, I told you this. I'm fucking around with this thing that I bought a couple of days ago on Amazon.
You really are a warlock, Fred, because frankly, I wouldn't be able to do two things at once right now while we're recording. I definitely would be fucking something up.
You know, sometimes it's, I don't know. I got
The
nothing.
military training, man, you guys can multitask.
Yep.
Glad
Well,
I
I mean,
didn't go in.
they have to teach us to say yes, sir, while giving us the shaft.
You make it sound like prostitute training.
I mean, by all technicality, I am selling, like, okay, for example, did you know in the military, you can actually, like, if I were to go out and get a really bad sunburn to the point where, like, I went to a doctor and they said, hey, you probably shouldn't be, like, basically, like, sun poisoning, where it's so bad that you can't even put on a shirt without, like, hurting.
Right.
They can actually write you paperwork, like what we call a letter of counseling or an LOC, basically, hey, you're in trouble for this, for destruction of government property because you have damaged yourself to the point where you cannot function at your job.
Yeah, no, it's really strange. Like, I have always thought about it as a version of indentured servitude, or like you guys have basically leased your bodies for a particular time, and you've relinquished the fact that you own them, but in return you get money and benefits that other people like. I think it's pretty dope to be in the military. You and I have had conversations about this, where you think that like they're almost too taken care of, is what it sounds like the way that you've spoken about it in the past.
Yes and no. I mean, the definition, like, too taken care of, yes, we are, like, we have free healthcare and shit like that, but we're paid shit, and our healthcare is based upon the military doctors that the military trains. So it's not, like, we're the type, like, our doctors are like the D's get degrees kind of people.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I mean, it's not
road
like
mechanic. Yeah, it sounds like his ticker's bad.
like
Change the transmission on this one.
it's not like there's a whole lot of, hey, we're really gonna dig into this and look into this. Like, for example, I'm doing physical therapy for my knee right now because running kills my knee, and having to run a mile and a half every 6 months is a great idea.
At least not every day.
Oh, well, I mean, you have to be able to run that mile and a half in under 13 minutes and 36 seconds. So technically, running every day isn't great, but it's something that happens. But anywho, I was prescribed physical therapy at an off-site civilian facility where they gave me 16 visits and then said, hey, after 16 visits, you're shut off. Well, the physical therapist was like, but you're not done. And so I had to actually, like, jump through hoops, like, had to call TRICARE. TRICARE said, no, call your PCM. My PCM was like, no, call TRICARE. And it was a big political rigmarole of loops in order for them to be like, hey, we'll give you another 18 sessions. Good luck. Have fun.
Like healthcare red tape.
Yes. Like, we deal with that a lot more. And so it's, while we may not be paying for our health care, it's not like I'm saying we have the best health care in the world by any means.
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like you've traded healthcare for like a Canadian experience. Not the
Well,
best healthcare, but at least we get taken care of. I mean, that's you know what I mean? It's who's
I
gonna
mean,
complain, really?
we've had this discussion before, and I'm not about socialized medicine in any way, shape, or form. Mostly the like, why let the government tell you what the fuck you can and can't do? For example, I mean, you have the socialized people who are arguing for socialized medicine, and then governments are banning fucking abortion all over the place, and it's like, wait a minute.
It is pretty contradictory.
Well, not only that, but it's the like, yes, it's essentially contradictory of the like, hey, like we want the government to run this, but they're going to take away all of the shit we want.
Right, right. I mean, it's kind of the play. Anybody who expects any different isn't listening to history, I don't think.
The government will fuck you any chance it can.
If you aren't prepared.
Mm-mm. It doesn't matter whether you're prepared or not. The government will chance it can.
I know, but if you're prepared, then you can fight it or attempt to fight it. I still think the fight is to be made. We all have
Don't get me wrong. I understand that with especially the abortion bans and everything like that, there's appeals processes and everything like that, and I think that that's in the process of happening now. But it's getting to that point to be able to do that. That is what we're working toward, or what most people are working towards.
Yeah, I there was a social media post in regard to the conversation we're talking about, the topic of legislation regard to prenatal care specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use the A word, but I think you get where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that it was an argument between mostly ladies. Some were on one side of the fence, others on the other. And I literally just commented and saying, I'm going to go ahead and, as a male, respect the fact that this decision doesn't have much to do with me and not have an opinion. And I got a bunch of like really cool reactions, but later I was like, I don't know, that's a really self-indulgent even comment. I shouldn't have even said anything.
Yeah. Well, and so actually, one of the mutual people we went to high school with put up a post saying something about how they are giving more rights to rapists and pedophiles than they are.
KF?
KF? No.
Okay.
No. But they put up a post about how like we're giving more rights to pedophiles and rapists than we are to women. And so I posted a simple meme of the irony of a dead pedophile cannot be a reoffender.
I mean, it's true. I'm not one for vengeance.
No, I'm not.
Especially in regard to like how I've experienced tragedy recently.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. It's I genuinely have always believed in a 3-strike rule.
See, but at the same time,
I know there are some very odd things that can be said about, like, you're basically allowing for 3 victims before any consequences, is what some people have argued. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. You proceed with regular punishment. But if these people do the same thing 3 times in a row, then you have a legal right as the state to prevent as much as you can any furtherance of tragedy, on top of the punishment that they will receive according to the criminal justice system.
understandable.
Talking about chemical castration.
See, so the argument was made for the pedophile specifically of the like, oh, like, for how do I put this without sounding bigoted? And let me reiterate, I am very LGBTQ friendly. I have many friends, whatnot, but it was more the mentality of, okay, well, like, if gay people, you love who you love and you're attracted to who you're attracted to, the same thing applies to pedophilia, of those people are attracted to the very specific men, like, that they're
I'm not
attracted.
opposed to the fact that they're attracted to that, but the act is what. There's no getting around the fact that an 11-year-old can't consent the way that a 16-year-old can. Period.
Well, and I mean, even technically, a 16-year-old is considered underage, and therefore it would be considered pedophilia.
Right, but you understand the logic even is
No,
that
I understand that. It's more the aspect of, um, like, when is it these are people that are especially repeat offenders. Like, they have shown that there is no recourse or, change to their behavior. And so at what point do you say, okay, there's enough of this, we need to either, like, not necessarily, like, whether it be chemical castration or legitimately literally putting this person, like, for lack of a better term, putting them down. Like,
right
if
for
we,
the good of all. Right. What's the moral dilemma? I understand what you mean.
like, even the, like, for the greater good thought process, if you want to go with that aspect, like the,
Yeah, let's ask the audience who believes in the sacrifice for the greater good. Is one life worth the possible happiness of others? Some people would argue that a single life is worth far more than anything possible. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. To be honest with you, you guys can send us messages on Anchor. I want to get your thoughts on this. I want to see how Tom could devil's advocate his way around some of these ideas you guys could throw at us.
Fred.
Fred, you're Uncle Tom anyway. It's all right.
An uncle? What?
No, come on. It's fine.
I suppose.
It's the worst that'll happen. We try our best. You know what I mean? Are
It
you
all
satisfied with society?
in general, or, like, I guess, what do you mean by that
I mean, in
definition?
general. Are you satisfied with society?
I think that there's a lot of scumbags around the world, but in regards to, like, people, as, like, humans in general are trash, and in the aspect of, we do horrible things to each other in order for, um, either self-fulfillment or to get a leg up on other people.
Wow,
However,
that's pretty bleak.
it is, but at the same time, however, I have seen a large majority of people taking the step forward, or at least saying, like, granted, again, actions speak louder than words, but these people are saying, like, I'd rather build people up and have that kindness and that hope and that helpfulness to be able to bring mankind forward and help them and build them up. And so it's more there is both sides of it. There's a lot of the, you're going to have shit people, but you're also going to have a lot of people that are willing to help and, fix a lot of the shit that these shit people are destroying.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with this. Is that I'm just trying to make people understand there's I guess there's more to the world. There's different ways that you can find fulfillment. You can have a conversation with us. You can leave us messages. You can listen to the music I recommend, or you can decide to listen to Fred and I for 23 minutes. Whatever it is that you decide to do, I appreciate your support. I'm sure Fred does, even though he volunteered for this, or I lassoed him in, so to speak.
Dragged me in,
I'm
kicking and
just bored, man. Like I'm with the rest of humanity. I'm just bored. Like even doing the things that I love doing, I'm bored.
that, and that's fair. The problem is that most people in their lives are bored. It's the, like, there's a lack of fulfillment like, in life in general. Like, it's really sad to say, but the pessimist or the realist version of me is saying, the, like, well, you're born, you grow up, you pay taxes, you do all the things you're supposed to do, and at the end of it, you still fucking die. And so it's more the, yeah, you can make as much of a difference as you can, but the question is how you're going to make that difference and how many people you touch with it.
That's interesting. I like it. I'm gonna leave that the moment for a second, and we're gonna take a break. We might be back on another episode, or we might continue this conversation later. Either way, that guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be back in a second.
Thank you for having me.